try not to booger up the day. I'm thinking about it all afternoon. Good evening and welcome to the Planning and Zoning meeting for the City of Smyrna. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. This meeting is called to order. At this time, we'd like to ask that you silence your electronic devices. For those of you joining us for the first time, this meeting is conducted much like a council meeting. As such, each application will include a presentation from city staff, followed by a question and answer session between staff and the board. Following staff's presentation, we'll have the applicant present their case and answer any questions from the board. Once all the questions have been satisfied, we'll ask if there's anyone in attendance that wants to come forward and speak in favor of or opposition to the application. We just ask you come one at a time, state your name and address for the record, sign the sign-in sheet at the podium, and please address all your comments to the board. The first item on our agenda is an ordinance. It's ORD 2024-002. Mr. Staubs, can we get the background, please?
Good evening, Joey Staubs, Planner 2 with Community Development. The city code allows human and animal crematories in the heavy industrial zoning district, but the code does not allow animal crematory as a singular use in the other zoning district. We are proposing a text amendment to allow animal crematory in the office distribution zoning district. They're nowhere near comparable. We think it will not be a nuisance or have any noxious odors or anything like that. So we think it's appropriate in the OD zoning district, and that's what we're proposing.
Any questions, Mr. Staubs? No. Real quick, Mr. Martin, this is a public hearing? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Staubs. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come forward and speak in favor of or opposition to this ordinance change, please come now. Nobody? Sorry, let the record say no one wants to talk about this. Can I get a motion, please? Motion, Mr. Rice, to approve. Do I have a second? Ms. O with a second. Mr. Rice. All in favor, please vote. Okay. The ordinance is approved 7-0. All right, the next item is Z24-014. It's a zoning request to allow for rezoning from GC to R15 for the development of one single-family home. It's 0.465 acres, land lot 546. Also known as 4820 Camp Highland Road. Shamara Goba is the applicant. Mr. Staubs, the background, please.
Good evening. This is rezoning case C24-014. Your recommendation will go to Mayor and Council on December 9th. The subject property is 4820 Camp Highland Road. It's a little under half an acre, currently zoned general commercial. There was a single family home on that property, but it was demolished. So it needs to be rezoned to be able to rebuild a new home. That's what this applicant is requesting, to rezone to R15. The future land use is industrial. We're not changing that. It'll remain as it is, surrounded by other low density and industrial future land uses. This is the property. It's got a lot of on there, but I'm going to try to keep it simple. It's just that's the lot. This is the home, the building envelope. It'll have all the R15 setbacks, front 40, side 10, rear 35. It meets all of that. It's on septic. That's why you see all the drain field there. But basically, it's just one single family home. They are not requesting any variances. They meet all the R15 requirements. Some pictures of the subject property and some adjacent properties. We're recommending approval of the rezoning from GC to R15.
Okay.
Happy to
Any
answer
questions?
any questions.
Mr. Staubs? No questions? All right. Thank you, sir. This time, I'd like to ask the applicant to come forward and tell us a little bit about the plan. Good evening and welcome.
I heard you say come forward, and then we'll.
Yeah. Just tell us a little bit about your application, about what's going on, and
Okay,
what
so
your plans are for the property.
once purchased the property, didn't realize that the zoning didn't allow for a house to be
Yeah,
built.
can we get the microphone a little closer to you? I'm sorry, somebody can help you with that.
When I purchased the property, didn't realize that the zoning didn't allow for an actual building or a home to be built on it because there is a home existing and it's on a road with other homes, and there were other homes being built along Cap Highland, maybe 3 or 4 houses down. And so just looking to be able to build a home on there and get the zoning corrected so we could proceed with that.
And your name, please?
Shamara Goba.
I
Sorry.
didn't do too bad when I said it. All right, good. All right, any questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you. Ms. O?
Not this, it's for a family home. No, not, it's not for investment purposes.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. What'd you say?
It's going to be a family home for our family.
Family home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for,
I
yeah.
couldn't hear, I'm sorry. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, so we had permits to clear it, so we did clear it, moved most of the trash, because there was a lot of dumping taking place there. So we've been dealing with that, and that is why we're trying to move forward. You know, there's people dumping, we picking up the dump, dumping it, they're dumping again. And so, you know, if we was to start doing something there, at the least, we'll probably be able to avoid that. I mean, as you can see, even the neighbors that live there, they have my personal number. They will call me and say, hey, you got another dumping. And, you know, I mean, it's been bad. Well, everything is cleared now. So I took down all the, it's regrown, the bamboo. Oh, it must have been new, because as you can see on the pictures, it was actually cleared. So, yeah, so we'll take care of that, no problem. All right. That is correct. I mean, because we can't tap into sewer, because sewer is all the way on east-west connector. That means we are gonna actually have to dig up the development that is across the street, and I don't think that's gonna be possible. As soon as we could possibly get started, we was looking to actually, you know, expedite this thing here. It's been a slow process. But, I mean, because it was all about the zoning, and we did not realize that this was, because automatically, if you see a residential home, you assume that the land that it is on is residential as well, until we go to get permits in. It's commercial.
It happens.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone in attendance that would like to come forward and speak in favor of or opposition to this application. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sean Murphy, 3282 Lee Street, Smyrna resident. I would just speak in favor. Sounds like they're going to get rid of a real eyesore. And since it was already a house and they assumed it was a house, it makes sense to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Murphy. Anyone else? Okay. Any comments from the board, questions, anything? All right, then can I get a motion? I got a motion, Ms. O, to approve. Do I have a second? Back. We have a second. All in favor, please. All right, your application's approved 7-0. Good luck at mayor and council next month. Okay? Excuse me. The next item on our agenda is Z24-015. This is a zoning request to allow for rezoning from R15 to RDA conditional for the development of 8 single-family homes at a density of around 5 units per acre. It's 1.59 acres of land lot 528. It's 3767, 3777 King Springs Road. Davin Harris is the applicant. Mr. Staub's the background, please.
Yes, sir. This is rezoning case Z24-015. Again, your recommendation will go to Mayor and Council on December 9th. The subject property is 3767 and 3777 King Springs Road, a little over 1.5 acres. It's currently 2 lots with 2 single-family residences on it. The proposal is to build 8 single-family detached residences. The existing zoning is R15, and the proposed zoning is RDA conditional. The future land use is currently low-density residential, so to accommodate this rezoning, it would need a future land use change to medium-density residential. If you look on the future land use map, above the property is low-density residential. Kind of behind it is medium-high density residential with the duplexes on Springwood Drive. Across the street is Neighborhood Activity Center. And then a little further down is high-density residential. So it is right in the mix of several different densities. This is the subject property and the site plan. The RDA zoning district setbacks will have a front of 20 feet, a side of 5 feet, and a rear of 20 feet. 4 of the lots will face King Springs with rear entry garages from the new road. And the other 3 will be front entry garages accessed from the new public road. They have a landscape buffer around the perimeter of the property. A common area right at the T for the fire truck turnaround. The mail kiosk will be there also. And their stormwater detention will be right at the front of the development. They will have to build a new public road with a 50-foot right-of-way to accommodate the property. There are 4 variances requested. A reduction of the minimum lot area from 7,260 to 4,436 square feet. The front setback reduction from 25 feet to 20 feet. Rear setback reduction from 30 feet to 20 feet. And increase in pervious coverage from 45% to 55%. Here's some examples of the elevations they're proposing. And some pictures of the subject property and adjacent properties. The staff is recommending approval of the rezoning from R15 to RDA, conditional for the development of 8 single-family homes at a density of 5 units per acre, with the standard conditions, the special conditions regarding the minimum setbacks, the minimum lot size, 4,436 square feet, minimum lot width of 50 feet, minimum driveway length of 22 feet. There will be right-of-way dedication along King Springs Road and sidewalk. Condition 15, that lots 1 through 5 will face King Springs Road with rear entry garages. 16, that the lots on King Springs cannot have privacy fences because it's sandwiched in between two roads, so both are front yards technically. So they're limited to 4-foot height and decorative fencing. 17 and 18 ties this to the site plan and elevation submitted with the application. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Staubs? All right, thank you, sir. At this time, we'd like to ask the applicant to come forward and tell us a little bit about your application. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. I'm Davin Harris, 1234 Kingsview Drive. I actually live right around the corner from the said properties. So we'll be working with Sean Murphy, who's our planning consultant. We also have Daryl Johnson here, who's our civil engineer, and Paul Henderson here, who's our builder and general contractor, so we can try to answer any questions that you guys may have. I actually like talking on the mic, but they'll be the ones to probably answer the questions for you.
Well, with a voice like that, I can only imagine why you like talking on the mic, right? All right. Well, go ahead. You want to tell us a little bit about the plan, Sean, please?
Again, Sean Murphy, 3282 Lee Street, Smyrna resident and the planner for the project. I think it's important to kind of give you a little bit of history about how we arrived at this particular plan. Initially, Mr. Harris had proposed to develop the same two parcels into 3 lots, taking the 2 that are there and creating a new lot across the back. But when we spoke to staff, and in particular the engineering department, they said that we needed to install sewer because the homes that are there now are on septic, and not only install a sewer for the existing homes, but the new home as well as the daycare to the north. And when we looked at what it was going to take to install a sewer just for one new lot, it was going to take tearing up part of Springwood Drive. We would also need to do detention, and unfortunately the only place the sewer could go is kind of where you see the road right now, and that is also where the larger trees are on the site. So once we ran all the numbers looking at what it was going to take down all those trees and put in the sewer and store them one lot, really didn't make a lot of sense. The other issue we have is if you looked at Joey's plans there earlier, right across the street on the other side of King Springs is the back end of a rather ugly looking older shopping center. It's all painted the same color. There's virtually no landscaping there. So trying to just redevelop those 2 houses with what the land costs today and building, $700,000 or $800,000 houses facing the back of a shopping center was going to be rather difficult. So I was aware of a project which hopefully you all are aware of called 11 on Church, which is just a block from here, which is done very, very well. I think they're just about sold out. They maybe have 1 or 2 lots left. And it is almost on exactly the size piece of land and a very similar number of lots. They're actually smaller lots, and I think they have an extra, I think they might have, Rusty, you might know, is it 10 they have on that one? Yeah, or I thought it was, maybe it's 11. It's 11 on Church, yes, 11 on very similar size piece of land. So that is what we modeled this after. And Mr. Harris plans to build a very similar product to what they have done there and what you all approved recently to go on that property. So with that, I'll hand it over to Daryl. He can talk a little bit about what we're doing about detention.
Hey, good evening, board. Daryl Johnson here, JDM Consultants. So yeah, I was brought in as the civil engineering on this project, and so Sean has pretty much told you everything about it. We would be adhering to all of the criteria that he put in place about the impervious areas and stuff. What we're trying to do is make sure that we manage stormwater to the southeast of the site here at the southeast corner. It would be a walled pond. We would probably landscape the perimeter of it. We'll make sure that we handle all the drainage that we're accommodating with the community, with the impervious area. We've ran the numbers on the pre-existing and the post-development, and they work. We'll be tying into an existing storm structure or an existing storm pipe that's running across the street there off Springwood Drive. But we've ran the numbers and everything seems to work out. And all of those numbers will be evident when we go through the LDP process.
And I just want to add that I did talk to the fire marshal, and the T turnaround at the end is acceptable to them. So they've seen a sketch of this before we submitted.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add?
That's it. Paul Henderson, you got anything? All right. Is there any other questions that we can ask?
Go ahead, Keith.
Did you say what price point you were going to have these houses at?
The ones at Church, and again, I'm in real estate, so this is my 24th year. I'm also in sales, so I kind of watch everything that's going on there. So the price point right now where they've got it in Church, they're started out at $820 up to $890. So we should be somewhere in that high 800 there if everything works like it's planned. There's a pretty big shortage of nice housing that you can get for that price range at that square footage in that location there. So we do know that with there. So we're going to start, if we get this thing approved, we'll start lining those people up. And like we said, we got 8 of them. I know 8 great families that would love to be in the area there, and they'll be right around the corner from us and Tolleson Park and the kids and all those things. So it should be really good.
Awesome. Any other questions? Mr. Phillips?
Did you get it on?
Yeah.
There you go, back on. So you mentioned if it was 3 houses, it didn't make any sense because you're looking at the back of the Big Lot Shopping Center. So now you're putting 5 houses facing Big Lots. What are you going to do to screen? How are you going to make that acceptable for 5 houses versus 3 houses?
So there's two things there. Is one is having more lots will help distribute the costs and make it more economical. But the other thing is that we have talked to staff, and they said that they would work with us to try to allow it so that we could potentially plant some evergreens on the other side of the street in the public right-of-way possibly. And Mr. Harris has actually talked to the owner of have you talked to the owner of the shopping center? Or
Yes,
just,
yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked to the owners of the shopping center as well. I actually know the guy at the package store there. I kind of frequent him on the weekends, but so we've had a chance to meet and talk with them, and we're going to try to. We think it could be a win-win situation as they see we're doing things. Where they're going to try to. They say they're going to try to help us. Now they own about 300 buildings, and that's the lesser one of the 300. So at this point we've got to try to do what we can do. What we say we're going to do to make the area nicer. I'm even talking to the owners behind there. They've got a lot of rentals that are behind there. So if you ever drove back there, you can see there's like trucks and cars and things of that sort there. So we're going to try to just clean the whole area up there because it makes sense. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. I also have I just started this yesterday. So if you want to see this, I've got a signature letter, and I'm kind of going around and telling everyone kind of what we're doing to kind of get the buy-in, see if there's any issues that everyone has. Like I said, the people that are next to us, they're happy because they're on septic, so they're happy they can just tie into that. But I do have that. I started it yesterday. I've got about 12 signatures, but I'm hoping when we come back on the 9th, if we need to, I want to have a bunch of signatures. I want to have everyone, involved in it, kind of know what's going on, so there's no surprises at the end. So I can submit this and let you see it right now. I don't have a original copy of it, but if you'd like to see that right now, I can do that. And again, we're just trying to get everyone involved in the community. Because again, they're driving by and they've seen those signs there, and they've been calling me saying, "Hey, thank you. Like this has been an eyesore for us." So it seems like everyone's kind of bought in and they're happy to see what's going to be going on.
Good. I think the most important part of that is you're reaching out to the community, trying to make sure that there's no significant objections prior to.
Right.
That means a lot to these guys because battles they don't have to fight.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, it's one of those situations where I live there, so I'm not hard to find. I'm right around the corner. So then, if you're doing something that's not quite right, they're going to know exactly who it is, and they can come and knock on my door to see there. So it's very important to me. Not only that because I live
It's
there.
both a blessing and a curse.
Yes, it is. It
So
is.
you know. All right. Any other questions for the applicant? All right. I've got a bit I've got to stay. You guys can stay because I don't think anybody else, but I've got a bit I have to say, which is this is a public hearing. If there's anyone in attendance that'd like to come forward and speak in favor of or opposition to this application, now is the time. You don't have to. You come forward, absolutely. Come on. Mr. Murphy reached out and gave you guys an olive branch, and I knew what he was doing when he did it. And
So these guys are actually around the corner from where we're
Please state your name for the
looking to
record.
develop. Oh, my name is Gaia Goba. So they're around the corner from where we are developing, and just like them, we're also received a lot of calls. I know the neighbor Amanda. She will call me like weekly, So it's at a point where I think what you guys are doing helps me, and what I'm doing actually helps you, and it helps the community and to beautify everything's around there.
so you're in favor of it.
I'm definitely in favor.
Just want to be clear. Thank you very much for coming back up. All right. With that, we're going to close the public hearing comment, and we'll move to a motion unless there's other discussion or questions from the board. Okay. Can we I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion number Z24-015, 3767 and 3777, King Spring
King Springs Road to make a motion for approval.
I have a motion for approval, Mr. Seagraves. We have a second, Ms. Evans. All in favor, please vote. All right, the application's approved, 7-0 if my math works out. They used to add it up for me. They don't do that anymore. So 7-0. Good luck with your project. This will go before mayor and council next month, correct? Okay. So good luck with mayor and council. Yes. The last item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from September 9th, 2024 Planning and Zoning meeting. The members in possession of the minutes, do they have any changes need to be made, or can we get a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Motion to approve, Mr. Rice. Do I have a second? Mr. Phillips. I'm sorry. All in favor of the minutes as presented? And you're abstaining because, so 6-0 to 1. And anything further, Mr. Martin? Okay, anybody got any comments? Okay, well, this meeting is adjourned at 6:25 in the PM.